We're live.
What's up, Notjust developers? Welcome back to another live build. And today, I'm so excited about the project that you're going to build, not just because it's an amazing project that most of you are using probably quite often, but also because for the person who is going to teach you this. This project was prepared by Lucas. So here is Lucas. Hello and welcome to the stream. How are you feeling today?
Hello, everybody. I'm feeling amazing. I'm super excited to be here finally again. And thanks for the intro. So, yeah, I'm really excited for today because I think we have a very fun project lined up and I
Let's
can't
not
wait to
wait.
dive into it.
Let's not wait. Tell us what we're gonna build today.
Yeah, so today we are, yeah. So today we're going to be building a Reddit clone with React Native Expo. And we'll cover everything from setting up the project, handling the posts, comments, and even authentication. And by the end of this video, I think you'll have a fully functional app that looks and feels like Reddit on your phone.
Amazing.
So here's a quick look at what we're going to build today. As you can see here, we'll have a home feed where people will be able to explore posts from various communities. We'll build a detailed post page where people will be able to view posts, engage in discussions. They will also be able to create a post to share the thoughts. Also, you'll be able to search for the communities while creating the post, of course. Then, as mentioned, we'll implement very easy authentication, login, and sign up with Clerk. We'll talk more about it soon. We'll also try to build a comment section where people will be able to read through the comments, check the replies, join the conversations. Not sure if we'll fit everything here, but hopefully, let's try.
I'm pretty sure.
And yeah, so now for the tech stack. As mentioned, we'll be doing it with React Native Expo. We'll also be using Expo Router for screen navigation. Again, well, I'm mentioning Clerk. We'll be using Clerk for authentication. We'll be using Jotai for global state management, and we'll be using TypeScript to ensure type safety. Now, let's quickly go over of what are you going to learn today. So first of all, we'll go over the basics. As the tutorial mentions, it's very well suited for beginners. So we'll cover the props and state managing. We'll cover the flat list, how to efficiently render long lists. Also, we'll cover navigation, how to implement it with bottom tabs, authentication, and much more. We'll cover React hooks like useState, useRef, and you'll see a lot more and how we use them, what are they. We'll cover authentication by implementing user login signup. Again, we'll be learn about TypeScript basics and fundamentals, which is very important. And we'll be learning about global state management, how to manage and share data across your whole app. And lastly, if we'll have time, we'll cover a little bit of performance optimization by reducing unnecessary renders. So, Vadim.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lucas. I'm very excited. Like, it's already looking so good. I just want to mention that we're going to follow the same project-based learning that you're used to, that we've built, and we designed to make sure that you're going to learn the most out of this project. Project-based learning is best because you gain hands-on experience, you build real project, and at the end you have like a project that you can either continue building or add it to your portfolio when you're going to search for a new job, or adjust it for your own needs. Yeah, project-based learning for the best.
Yes,
yeah,
totally agree with that. I am in with you.
All right, yeah, so before we get started, I want to say a big thank you for the sponsor of today's video, which is Clerk. Thank you, Clerk, for making this possible. And if you don't know about Clerk, Clerk is the best way to implement user management, authentication, sign up, and the whole user management lifecycle in your application. They have the best developer experience out there. It's super easy to implement. They have pre-built UIs for the web. On mobile, we can easily integrate with their API, and we can have a lot of features when it comes to user management, to authentication, such as social sign-ins, such as multi-factor authentication, magic links, and more, in a matter of like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, installing and configuring it in our project. So thank you very much, Clerk. And today we're going to actually use Clerk to manage users in our Reddit clone. So you're going to see more about that a bit later.
Yes.
And last but not least, I would like to make sure that Lucas gets a proper introduction. So Lucas, welcome back to notjust.dev. Thank you very much for coming back. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. So very quickly, not to waste too much time, I am a software engineer. I have 6 plus years experience as a startup CTO and co-owner. I, of course, have more experience in the development field, but that's where I spend most of my time. Also, I'm a former university instructor in software engineering, and we did it together way back in the days. And I would say I'm a developer first and educator second. So I had a lot of experience there. And now I think I am ready to share that with others. And a few mottos basically that I go by with would be building a real life project is the fastest way to grow, which we already mentioned. That's how I was learning and I still stand by it. And my goal will be to help you level up one project at a time, starting with Reddit.
Thank you. That's amazing. And yeah, Lucas coming back allowed me to focus more on React Native Mastery. Now I'm all in preparing the last project. React Native Mastery has 7 different projects that will help you master mobile development with React Native and Expo. Now I'm finishing up the 7th module, and it's going to be available on our platform starting from at the mid of March. So if you're interested in React Native Mastery, now is the best time to join. You can go to notjust.dev/React Native Mastery. I'm going to wait you there. And without further ado, is it time for us to get started?
Yes, let's get started. So before going further, I just want to let you know that we've worked on a Notion guide which is in the description below. You can find it there. It's very detailed, and let me share it with you how we'll be using it. So you can see here by going to the link, a little welcome post, a short introduction of what is that, and the main part will be the task board here that I'll be following, and I highly suggest you do the same because there I have some more examples that I will probably not cover that deeply here. So download it and use it as you will.
Trust me, this resource is so well written. I went for it, and Lucas went above and beyond to prepare it. Easy to follow guide. So make sure to go to assets.notjust.dev/Reddit and get the Ascent bundle with a step-by-step guide.
Yes, exactly. It took a while, not gonna lie. So yeah, and I think let's just get started with it without wasting too much time. The first thing will be opening the first lesson, which is configure your environment. I will quickly cover what you need. So first of all, you definitely need to download the Node.js. You can just go here, install it, and in theory,
your interaction. Can you just zoom in a bit?
Yes.
And maybe open it full screen so that we can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Perfect. This is, bear with me. I will have mistakes like that, but with time I'll learn.
These are not mistakes. Let's go.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, to follow this tutorial, the only thing that you in theory need will be installing the Node.js, and later I'll cover one more requirement. But if you're running your app on a physical device, that's simply downloading Expo Go and will be ready to go. So do that as well. You can follow this link here and it will take you where you need. So there is a one step, which is running your project on a simulator or emulator. It is optional, but if you want to do that, you do need to install Android Studio or Xcode. So I will not be covering this in this tutorial, but if you want to do that, if you want to run the app on the simulator, just follow this guide with all the documentations and you'll be good to go. Last thing that we will need is going to be the code editor. So my choice for this tutorial will be VS Code. I think Vadim uses that as well, and I suggest downloading it if you don't have anything, and here you can do that as well. That's it. We'll only be needing that much. So let's go back to the dashboard and let's start setting up our first fresh Expo project. Yes, so here, as again, you'll have all the steps you'll need to do. I'll be following this myself. So let's first of all copy this this command. Let's go to our terminal and run the command. One important, let me actually try to make it bigger for you. So what we're doing here, we're creating a new Expo application with the latest version of Create Expo app. We're giving it a name here, and we're also defining a template. I'll leave it like this because now we can select the template you want. For this tutorial, we'll be choosing blank TypeScript, but the default one comes already with a lot of pre-built screens and more, which is, I think, very good as well, but I want to show you everything from scratch. So let's choose blank TypeScript and click enter. Now we'll create an application real fast, and let's see the next steps. So yeah, the next steps will be opening the VS Code. You could, in theory, open your application through the terminal if you have VS Code, but for that you'll need one extra setup as well. So I'll just show you how to do it from scratch by doing it very manually, let's say. So let's go here, open a new VS Code window. Let's make it bigger. I think we'll increase it as well. And let's see. Yes, we can see that the project is ready to go. And the only thing we need to do now is go to our VS Code, go to File, click Open, and find the place where you have your project created. For me, it's gonna be here, Reddit clone, and we can click Open. You will most definitely see this table, and here you can just select Trust Authors of all files and click Yes, I trust the authors. Let's close this welcome. And here we have the project basically already created. So as you can see here, following, the next step will be to start the development server. Again, there are shortcuts to opening the terminal, but if you don't know, you can simply go here, Terminal, click New Terminal, and we'll be here. To run the application, we simply need to run npm start and click enter. Now the Metra bundler is ready, so let's open the... Oh, by the way, yes, so if you want to run your application, as I mentioned, on Expo Go, the only thing you need to do is scan this QR code with your mobile device's camera, and you'll have it ready. In this tutorial, I'll be running on the simulator, so I'll be pressing I. Now it's opening the terminal. Let's make this smaller so you could see everything. And yes, it's loading, perfect. And now it's bundling. So now we can see that we have the app, and you can close the terminal here. So now we can see that we have the app running, and it says open app.tsx to start working on your app. Let's do that. Let's open the app.tsx, and let's change this title to Hello World. Let's save it, and we can see that the hot reloading is working. That means we're good to go, and we can continue. Now, the one more thing that I want to showcase to you is setting up the folder structure a bit differently. I think that will help you to have everything a lot more organized. Therefore, I recommend it. I know a lot of people do that as well. So let's do that right away. In here, let's click on a right mouse button and click new folder. Let's call it source. And inside here right away, let's create two more folders. One will be called components. And this will be a folder where we keep the components that we, let's say, reuse, a little small building blocks. And also inside the source, let's create another folder called app. This will be the folder where we keep all of our screens. And this is basically how it should look like. Now it's important to download the asset bundle that I added here because I'll be giving you some of the dummy data that we'll be needing today. So make sure to download it, unzip it, and then you can replace that assets folder with this one. I already have mine here, so let me let me replace with mine. Yeah. And you should have this data folder here, which will have 3 JSON files. One of them will be for posts, one of them will be for groups, and the last for comments. That's it. We're ready to go to the next lesson. So let's go back to the task board. Let's open the Expo Router lesson and let's install the Expo Router. As mentioned, Expo Router is going to help us with the navigation inside the application, and it is not like a traditional let's say navigation library. It is following file-based navigation system, which means that you simply need to create a file in app directory, and Expo Router will create a screen for that. So if you're familiar with Next.js navigation, this approach will be very close to your heart, let's say. But if you're not, don't worry, I'll explain everything step by step. And also one more thing, if you have any experience with React navigation, you will see some of the familiarities and some of the things that we can reuse. So yes, now let's go and create a new screen in our app directory. Let's go back to our code. We can close this one out, and inside app directory, click right button, new file, and then let's call it index.jsx. For now, we will not do anything here because we did not install the Expo Router, so it does not change anything. So we can stop the server clicking Control-C, and we can run the command to install the Expo Router library. To do that, let's open this official documentation guide and follow it step by step. I will guide you through how to read documentation as well. First of all, we can see that it says to follow the steps below if your project was previously created with Expo but does not have Expo Router library installed, which is the case for us. Now we are developing with SDK 50 and above. That means we simply need to copy this command, go back to our VS Code, and paste this command in the terminal. Click enter and let's wait for a little bit until it finishes installing. While it's installing, we can go to a second point, which is we need to set up an entry point. So for the property main, we can copy this, use the Expo Router entry as the value in the package.json. That means we need to go in our VS Code again and click on package.json. Let's double click it. Let's find where it says main. It is here, and let's replace with let's copy maybe only this part. Let's replace it with this. So let's go here, move this, paste this, and let's click save. Now we changed the entry point of our application, and the only last thing that we need to do is add a deep linking scheme in our app config. So let's copy this one and let's go to app.json here. Under the slug, that's where I like to do it, add the scheme and let's name it something like not just Reddit clone. Let's save it, and now we are done. We do see that here are more steps If you want to basically develop your application for web as well, we would need to install React Native Web and React DOM. We'll not be doing that today, so we'll skip this. And also you need to modify the Babel config.js to change to Babel preset Expo. But now Expo does that automatically for you, so we do not need to change anything. So that means we are ready to go. Let's click. One important step here is to clear the bundler cache. So let's copy this command, go back to our code, paste it, click enter, and we are good to go. Let's click to open it on iOS device. Let's reload. Yes, let's wait a second. Now we see that there is no unmatched, there's no route that Expo router could find. And that is because we changed the, we changed the entry for the Expo router. So now it no longer looks in here or here. It tries to look what's inside your app folder. We do have an index here where it should go, but we do not have anything here defined. So what we will do is we will create a new function, export default. Let's call it home screen. And let's we need to add export default function. Sorry. Let's return something. Let's return a text, and we will return a text from React Native. As you can see, it will import automatically. If it didn't, just write this one. Text, and let's say hello world Expo router. Let's save it, try to reload it, and we can see that it is working. So now we don't really need these files anymore. And as you can see in the guide, if we go back, we created our first screen. I will introduce this a little bit later, but now we have a little bit of cleanup to do as the fifth step. And what we'll do is we'll remove the index and app.tsx here because we will no longer need them. And it will keep things a bit cleaner. So now let's go back to our guide. We already created a new screen. Let's show you how easy the navigation is with Expo Router. So inside the app directory, we will create one more file, and let's call it about.tsx. And here I called it JSX, which is not correct. It should be TSX because we're working with TypeScript. So I'll rename it. Yes, so now what we need to do is simply wrap our text with link, and we will import it from Expo Router. So let's go back here, right, import. We will say we want to import link from, and we'll be importing it from Expo Router here. Now we'll need to do some adjustments here. Instead of having the text, we can simply change to link tag, and let's do it like this, and also let's add it in a view. We'll also need to import the view from React Native. It's kind of like a div in web development. Let's do this. And now I did it because we will add more things here below, and you cannot in React Native, you need to have basically your elements wrapped in one bigger element like a div or view. And we can see that the link is complaining about something, and we can hover on it and see that property href is missing in type. Basically, we can understand right away that we need to add href to here. So let's do that, href. And this is basically where TypeScript helps you. So we will do href, and now we need to define where should we go. So we'll be going to the about screen. And how does it know to just, like, we can just define about and to go there? Well, how it works, and here I made a mistake. It shouldn't be about, it should be about. So it takes the name from the app folder. So for example, if I would write something like about to, and I save it, let's reload it, and click on this text, it will not know where to go. But if I change it here to about, let's reload once again. We need to create here real quick a function. So let's do export default function. Let's call it about screen. And let's return text from React Native, and it will say hello from about. Let's save it, go back here, and if we click on here, I did not reload it. If I click here, we are we basically are navigating to a new screen, which is here. If you see, we can change it here and we'll see the changes. So that's how easy is navigation. You don't need to do any extra setups. You just create a file here and Expo Router knows, okay, this should be a screen. And to navigate to it, you just say link href and give it a name to where you want to be navigated to. Yeah.
Perfect. Going very good so far, Lucas. I didn't have even a chance to interrupt you because you had like such a good flow so far. So yeah, keep it going. I just wanted to ask you, can you zoom in a little bit the code?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
Is it better?
that's it. That's good. Yeah, that's enough. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
No
And
worries, no worries.
for everyone else who is joining us live, if you're wondering what's Vadim doing here, I'm in the live chat. So if you have questions, ask them, because this is a different live stream where I have time to answer all your questions. So take advantage of that, ask me things, and I'm going to chat with you while Lucas is going to teach you how to implement things. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say, and keep going. Don't forget to drink some water. Do you have some water?
Actually, I do. I think it's time to drink it. I'm not sure where I have it, but well, somewhere.
It's okay. It's okay. You can find it.
I have my coffee.
Okay, that's good. You didn't even have time for coffee.
No.
Okay, the intro is done. Everything is good. Take a deep breath. You're doing amazing. Everyone in the live chat loves it.
Much love to everybody.
Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah, perfect. So now let's talk about very important concept called layouts in Expo Router. And as I said, by default, every screen that you create in app folder will be a screen, except for a layout. This is basically like in native apps, you want to have some sort of elements that you can share between all of the screens. So for example, you like headers or bottom tab bars or drawers. And in order to share these elements between these screens, we need to create a layout. And layout is kind of like a wrapper around your screens. So basically, you can change something inside the layout to share between different screens, and it will stay there. So let's try to show an example of that. Go to a app. Let's create a new file here called layout.tsx. And in here, we can see a very easy example. We'll call it export default. We will call it root layout. And again, I forgot to write function. And in here, what we will do is we will return. For now, let's return as an example stack from Expo Router. And if I save this, reload here, we can see that the header appeared. And now if I navigate to here, we can see that the header persists at the top, which is what we want exactly. Basically, this layout wraps around everything that's in app directory. In this case, index and about screens. And we can do a lot of changes in here. So we could say, let's close the stack and let's maybe make it look a bit cleaner. I know I might have OCD, but let's not diagnose ourselves with anything. And inside here, we could create another stack.screen, let's say. And we can say that the name of the route, let's say it's in index. And in here, we can pass more options for the screen. So for example, title, let's call it home screen. Let's save it. And as you can see, the title above changed to home screen instead of having index. If I go to hello world, it's still about without capital, but we can add it like exactly like this one, just call it with a different name that's here. And we can give it more styles. We will see this actually in action a lot more during this tutorial, and I'll explain even more then. But for now, we will not be returning a stack here. We will be returning a slot. So the difference between slot and a stack is actually that if let me load here slot, it will return everything inside here, but it will not add any shared elements. So basically, it wraps around it. If you want something to change, you can do it, but it does not add like any pre-shared elements in there. So for now, we'll keep it that way. And actually, we can move on to another lesson because we finished like very basic knowledge about Expo Router. And we'll see more, expand more on Expo Router things, let's say. So now if we go to bottom tabs, actually I'm forgetting to open this full screen all the time, but we'll need to change a little bit our structure of the app. So let's go back to the VS Code, and under the app, let's create another folder and we will call it tabs. As you can see in here, I explain a bit more what are these parentheses around tabs. And these parentheses basically indicate that this directory is a group in Expo Router. And grouping screens is like organizing our navigation structure without actually affecting the URL paths. So for example, if I would add another folder like we will do actually later, we don't need to add this tabs inside the href. So we would not need to write tabs / about, or in this we'll need later, let's say app or protected. We can simply keep it like this, and that's it.
I just want to add here that in the code, sometimes we actually do specify that to be more specific, like where
Yes.
we want to land. But the benefit of having parentheses around groups is that it doesn't affect the end URL. And for mobile, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But if we run the same application on web, these URLs are going to be the actual URL at the top. So you don't want to see the users going to your website /tabs /app /protected /user. You just want to go /user. So that's why we add these optional groups. So
yes, exactly. Very good point. Very good point. So in this case, we will have 5 different tabs on the bottom of the Reddit application. And I think I have it somewhere here. Yeah, here. We'll have home, that should not be index. We'll call it differently. Communities, create, chat, and inbox. So let's do that. We need to create a file for every screen. So let's start with index.tsx, and this index will work like a home screen, like a feed for us. Good, now let's create another one for communities.tsx, another one for create.tsx, then chat, and lastly inbox. Perfect. So now that we created these 5 screens, let's try to add some boilerplate code to them, and I will copy here. You can do the same. Just copy it, go to the index. I don't like to be copying a lot of things, so I will write one fully. Let's call export default function. Let's call it home screen. Let's do this and return. What we will return inside. We will, for now, return only some. Actually, let's return also with view. So we need to import view from React Native. And also we will need to import text from React Native to display some text. And let's say home screen. Let's save it. And you need to do the same for all of these tabs that we just created. But in order to save a little bit of time, I hate doing this, but on YouTube it's kind of necessary. I'll do some copying in order to not waste your precious time. So let's go open chat. Let's paste the code that you copied from here. And let's rename it a little bit. Now we are in a chat screen, so we need to change the function name. And also let's rename what we say here. Okay, now let's go to communities. Let's do the same. Change here to communities. And here to communities. Oh wow, that's a difficult, it seems like it's a difficult word. So if I made a mistake, sorry. Let's go to create, paste once again. Let's call it create. Let's go to inbox, paste one last time. And I hope I'll not do any copy pasting anymore in this live stream, hopefully. Let's call inbox and again inbox. Let's save it. And now we have all of these screens created. So currently we do not really need these index and about screens anymore because we'll no longer be using them. It was just as an example. So you can select both of them or you can remove them one by one, but we select, click the right button and delete them. Let's move them to trash. And now let's see what happens if we reload. As we can see, it's smarter to render here a stack at first in order to have a little bit of a header, because we can see the text is hidden here, but we can't really see what kind of text. So for now, until we don't need it, go back to your layout, which is in the app, and change it to return a stack instead of a slot. Let's save it, and we can see that we are in home screen. So but even though we are in home screen, we do not see any kind of bottom tabs, even though we created all of these screens. And why we don't see them? Let's go down. We need to set up the layout that I just talked about for the bottom tabs. Because as I told, we'll be sharing those bottom tabs between all of these screens that are inside the tabs directory. And we need them to persist there. So what we will do is go to the tabs, not apps, app, tabs, new file, and let's create layout.tsx. In here, we will be wrapping our screens in a tab, basically a component. So if we scroll a bit here, you can copy paste to save your time. I will be building, and this will have all of the icons that you need. I tried to select the best ones I could. If you want, feel free to change, but we'll be adding some of the things here. First of all, we need to import the tabs itself from Expo Router. Then we need to export default function, and let's call it tab routes. Hopefully I call them the same. Yes, tab layout, not routes, my bad. Tab layout, like this. And in here, let's return the tabs like this. So yeah, we added the tabs, but we also need to build them basically one by one and explain and let them know what kind of the title it needs to have, what color they need to have, what icon they need to have, and more things in here. So if we just reload right now, we will see already something familiar going towards the right direction. We can see some of the tabs here. We can navigate between them. The icons, of course, are bad. The colors are bad. And for some reason, we see two different headers. To solve the header problem, we can very easily go back to app, layout, and we can change back to slot because we will no longer need that here. So let's change it to slot. We can remove here the stack, save it, and we can see that the header disappeared. You saw that header because this layout wraps everything in the app. So it displays its own header, but we also display a header for these tabs. So that's why you saw duplicating headers. But now that we are no longer returning here a stack, we're returning a slot, which means we just return everything that's here without adding anything extra. Yes, so now how do we change the icons, the colors, and everything else? Well, for that, we will need to do this inside here. And inside here, we will define different tab screens. So it's similar to stack.screen that I showed you, while being still different. So let's see, has no closing tag. Oh yeah, I forgot to add this and this. My bad. So now let's start defining the screens by writing tabs dot screen, and let's close it. So the first screen that we will be working on will be the index, our home screen. So the name of it is actually not the home screen that we gave there, but the name is actually this this part before the TSX, like a file name. So we say the name is index. The options will be, and we will change the, first of all, the title, and the title here will be, let's say, home. I think it's that way. Actually, it's header title, but no, we call it Reddit. Yes, Reddit. That's, I thought something is not correct. So we see header title. If we save it and reload it, we see that the header title changed, which is amazing. And for now, should we change only the icons? Let's actually change everything for all of them. So now we want to change the header title a little bit to have a different color, more closely related to Reddit. Sorry for spazzing a little. Let's clean it up a little bit. And now you can click Options Shift F to change a little bit the, to clean up your spacing, basically. It's gonna be a little bit easier to follow. And so we have a different title, color, and there's two more things that we want to change. We want to change the icon here. Actually, three more things: the icon, the name, and the color that it uses when it's selected. So in order to change the text, we simply need to pass title, and actually we will call it home, just home. Let's save it, and as you can see, it changed here to home. And in here, we will now work on having a different icon. So let's define tab bar icon. It expects to, let me check what kind of, icon I provided. It's this one. Let's copy this and go back here and paste just the icon that we want to use. You can use whatever icon you want, and you can use Expo vector icons. You can simply go here and find whatever icon you wish to use, go import it at the top. I still did not import it, which I will need to do. And this is the icon that you want to render. So you would copy this one and then simply pass it here. Let me close this. Okay, so now it's complaining that we did not import it. So we will do that. Import. We will say and design, and we will import it from how is it called? From Expo vector icons. So let's copy this one, go here, and yeah. Let's save it. Oh, actually now it's complaining about the color. So before showing an example, I show only black. And as you can see, it changed the icon. It's good, but it's not exactly what we want to achieve. Now it's always black, and the bottom placeholder is gray, so it's not exactly correct. And here it's completely blue. So what this is doing, color here, and then if we define, basically take as a parameter here, color, we're passing the active or not active, basically what color this icon should be displayed in. So if we save, you can see that now it changed to being gray, and it is like that because our inactive color is by default gray. If we hover on it, now it's blue, but so the light gray color for the inactive icon is something that we want to keep. But the blue is not something that we want to keep. Therefore, as you can see here, we have a screen option called tab bar active tint color. So we will go here and say tab bar active tint color, and we can change here to whatever we want. If I change red, whenever we hover in it, it will be red, but we will simply have it as black. And now it's perfect. It's everything that we needed. Let's create one more screen. We will need to do that for everything, but I will guide you through one. So tabs.screen, let's close the tag. And now, what does it need? So first of all, it needs a name. We are working on the chat. Here we see the name is chat, so we simply call it that way. Then what does it need more? We will pass some of the options. Now let's clean it up a little bit. Here, and here, and here. So for the options, we will be passing the title, as you remember at the top. So the title will be here just chat. Chat. We will be passing here also the icon. Yes, of course. So let's clean it up even more to have it very nicely readable. Okay, and the tab bar icon will be, again, we'll take the color, sorry, like this. We'll take the color and we'll say, okay, we will render, I don't remember exactly what, but we will render this icon and with this color. Of course, now we need to import the another icons, like a package. I'm not sure how to exactly call it, but if we save it, we can see that the chat appeared here and everything is working very nicely. So as you can see, we only needed to change the header title in the index because it's different, but for here, it's taking it from here basically. The title will be the header title and this title. I will not go over like all of these creating, so you can just copy all of it and paste it here. Again, pasting it, not very good, but let's save as much time as you want. As you can see, the rest ones will be exactly the same. So they will be following the same structure as the chat that I just created. If we save it, we can see that we have all of the screens and we can navigate between all of them and everything works perfectly. Later, we'll add a little bit more adjustments to the tabs in here, but for now, it's perfect. So we finished another little, let's say, checkpoint of implementing bottom tabs. Before that, let me take a short drink break, and maybe Vadim wants to say something. Vadim, I'm not sure we can hear you. Okay, so I think Vadim, of course, like it cannot be without some problems. So let's see where Vadim disappeared. Vadim, I think we can hear you now.
Can you?
Yes, we can.
And can you see me on the screen as well?
Now we can. Not sure where
Okay,
you've
okay.
been.
No problem. For some reason, Streamlabs threw me out for a second, and when I came back, like it wasn't connected. So don't worry, guys. But share another. Oh, I think now is good. Don't worry,
Yes.
guys. I have my T-shirt. Everything is good. I'm having a fun time here with our community in the live chat, to be honest. And the last
Nice.
poll that I did was if people remember you, and you know what? 62% of people remember you.
62%. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's
And for everyone who said yes, this is the second test. What video did Lucas do? I know
oh,
Aditya knows, he already mentioned that.
Aditya definitely knows. I remember him very, very well.
Perfect. How do you feel?
It's I'm a little bit afraid to something like do some mistakes, but I'm
But try
enjoying it.
now. Go ahead, delete the whole project and let's start over. We just need to go for it,
Yeah, yeah,
to face the fears. Don't worry.
exactly.
I think whenever things are not going according to plan, this is one our community actually loves it because we see how we struggle and how we are humans as well.
Yeah,
And if you, by the way, are on the beginning of your journey and have this feeling of, oh my God, these guys knows everything or they don't make any mistakes, don't let social media, YouTube, and stuff like that fool you because we prepare a lot for these builds to make it very easy for you to consume. We spend a lot of time making sure we have everything up ready beforehand, and usually our day-to-day work looks probably a bit different than yours, but quite close to what you would expect. We do a Googling a lot. We use ChatGPT a lot. We struggle through some bugs for a couple of hours. And I think the most important part is just to have this debugging mindset and knowing like how to solve problems because
yeah,
everyone has problems. It's just about like, okay, now how do I solve this one? And don't getting discouraged and just finding solution, Googling, going through GitHub issues. What else?
yeah, exactly.
Trying to pinpoint like the error. I think this is a
Yeah,
skill that at the beginning people might not have it, but then like you kind of develop it, and it's so important.
yeah,
It's if you know where the problem is coming from, consider that most of the work is done.
yeah.
And I think sometimes it's the hardest part to know where is it coming from. For that, like, yeah, we comment out half of our application. We look, is it still happening or not? If it's still happening, then it's in the half that we have there. So we comment out more and more and more until we pinpoint.
Exactly. Very, very well said. Like, even the simple things, sometimes I
Yeah.
Google. Like, sometimes I forget very, very stupid, dumb things, but it's just that's why Google is there. You don't need to look through a book or remember everything by heart. Just use it. It's definitely happens sometimes. So, yeah, I think we had a short catch up. If you'll have any more issues with your camera, please tell me somehow.
I
I'm not sure.
don't want to interrupt you because you have like the flow, like you're going for it.
Okay. If I'm also too fast, let me know in the
No,
chat,
that's
guys.
good. I think it's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. So we had a short break. Let's continue working on the next thing. And the next lesson will be creating your first component, custom component, let's say, like that. So why I say custom? Because so far we worked with some of these components, like text or view. It is like it is a component, but if you want to create your own custom reusable component, we will need to do some more steps. So first of all, let's clean up here the top part. And the first thing that we will do is start by displaying a simple dummy post inside our home screen. So if we go, actually, I see that this changed back to index. So it's important to fix this. And why it changed? Because we no longer have the title here. Let's add home, and I am adding it inside tabs, layout, and for the index tab. Now it's back to home. We can close it. No, we cannot close this. Let's open the index inside the tabs, and we'll start working on our first component in here. So the first thing that we will do is import the dummy data. So if you did not download it from the Notion guide and you're following now, please do that. If you're following later, you can still download it. So take your time and download it. Let's import, first of all, the posts from, and we will do them from, go back one more. We'll do them. I know Vadim hates this. He wants to always, he doesn't like relative paths. He usually set up aliases, so-called. I'll show you how to do it later, but right now I want to focus on bare minimum in order to create the first application without wasting more time on setup. Vadim is very technical, so he likes it. Let's
Don't
see.
worry.
Assets,
Do your thing.
data, and the last thing that we need is posts. Perfect. So now that we imported these posts, we can go inside here and simply say that we'll take a post, and we name our object basically a post, a variable, and we will assign the first element, the first object inside the posts array. So as you can see, this is a big array, and what this little thing does is it says that take the first element, which is at position 0, from the posts array, and in that case it's gonna be this one, the post with ID number 1. Okay, perfect. We have this post. So what else? Now we will change it up a little bit of what we are returning. Instead of returning a home screen, we will make the data a little bit dynamic. And how to do that? Well, first of all, let's inside here, inside the home screen, let's open it, these curly braces inside the text. And now you might be thinking like, why I need these curly braces? And JSX treats everything that's inside the text as plain text by default. So for example, as you saw home screen here. To include some dynamic values, for example, I want to include and display the title of the post. What we need to do here is we need to wrap them in a curly braces to tell that this thing what's inside the text needs to be evaluated as a expression, a JavaScript expression, and not a simple text. So now that we did this, we can write post, which is we are referencing this post. We can press dot, and now it shows us what can we display. Basically, it shows all of these values like description, group, image from here. As you can see, there is group, there is description, here's the image. But what we said, we want to display the title. So let's save it. And as you can see, just like that, we were able to display the title from the posts. Exactly like this. Why React Native is the best. Why React Native is the best. Comment down below why is it the best. Okay, so now we will want to display maybe a bit more, like to not only the post title, but also the description. So as you can see, we displayed it just like that. And you can display all of the data inside there as easy as this. Now, so for example, you might be thinking, how do I access this name if it's inside the first object, inside the group object, and here? For this, it's very easy. What we will do is I'm not gonna copy. We will say we're taking it from posts. It is in the group, but now you need to select what to display in a group. So lastly, you'll say we need to display the name. Let's save it, and as you can see, the name is here. So that's very basic logic about how to display data. Now we'll be working on creating, instead of hard coding everything here, we will be working on creating our own little component. But for that, let's take a look at what we will be rendering. So in the home feed, we can see that this feed has multiple posts here. Some of them have images, some of them only text. So for now, we will be working on displaying one post. Let's go back to our code. Let's delete this. And let's start working towards that. So you can keep on, if you have multiple screens, you can keep one of these examples so that it would be easier for you to follow. As the reference for the post. So now the first thing that we will do is I will open, actually also for the reference on my second screen, the design. Where is it? Okay, here. Actually, I have a real phone, so give me a second because I forgot to open this one and I don't remember how it looks exactly. Okay, so first of all, let's display the title, right? Not the title, but
maybe we can all look at the design. Yeah, here in the presentation. That's
yes,
good.
but I will want to open it also on my screen so that I will not need to
side.
always go back and forth.
Okay.
Not sure, maybe I can.
So we're gonna have posts with texts, posts with images, and posts with
Yes.
images and texts.
Yes,
as I know,
exactly.
right? A lot of
Where
things.
is it? How did I forget to prepare this? I don't know.
Don't worry. You did everything else 150%.
Where is it here? Maybe I can do in a new presentation and do it here. Not here.
Just do a screenshot. I can send you a screenshot.
I'm almost there. I think I am good. Let's see. Nope, I'm not good. Yeah, can you maybe pass me a screenshot?
Let me see. Yeah, I think I should be able. Here it is.
Perfect. Yeah. Now I have the design. Sorry for a little hiccup, but as you can see, I'm also learning with you together. So let's continue. So first thing that we will do is display a name like this top bar. Let's go back to the code and let's say that without styling, let's display a text, and this text will have post dot group because it's we say from which group it is, and the image. But we cannot render it in post, so let's not do image for now. Let's do name. How do we render images? So from React Native, we can import a component called image. And now if we add it here, image, let's close the tag. So it's with the image itself, it has a self-closing tag. You do not need to create like for the text here. And in here, we will say, okay, what does the image need? First of all, it needs a source to know what kind of image to render. And we will be rendering a URI, that basically like a URL of the image. And we'll be rendering it from post.group.image. So now if we save it, why is it not being displayed? Well, for that, we need to add some sort of styles. And in order to add the styles, and actually we only need to add two styles in theory. One is width. So let's say it will be 15. And the other is height. Height, which is going to be for now, let's say also 15. We'll change it a little bit later and I'll show you how can you do that. But for now, let's do like this. Maybe let's increase the size to 20, something like that. So now we can see that we have this small image down here, which is basically the image of the group that you're in. What we'll need to do is we need to make it rounded. So in order to make it rounded, we'll call border radius and we'll add it something like 10. Yeah, well, let's leave 10. Now it's rounded image. And for now, we'll leave it like that. Now we need to display also on the side when was it posted, how long it was, how much time ago or how long ago it was posted. So let's add another text. Let's access it in post dot and dot created at, simply like that. So now we're accessing the date of when the post was posted. For now, it's not formatted, but we'll fix it later. Let's leave it like that. But we can see that we're displaying, for some reason, everything on the bottom, not side by side. And in order to fix that, we need to wrap all of our components that we just created inside one view. So let's do that. Let's select this tab. And now we need to give this view a style. And we'll change the default flex direction, because by default, flex direction is, you can see even here, is in column. So basically displaying everything after each other. But we want to be displaying things one after another in a row. And that's already what basically gives out what we need to type, which is row. If we select that and we save it, now we're getting closer to where we need to be. So perfect. Now, of course, we need to add some more styling. So one very easy style to add will be gap. And let's do maybe 10. And gap, what gap does is in this whole view, it adds space between each of these elements. And we define that it needs to add like 10, it's not pixels, but let's say 10 points. And yeah, now we have almost, not very nice thing, but almost there. We need to still add some more styles. So for example, this text, which is group name, it needs to be bold. So we will be adding font weight and we'll be passing bold font weight. Let's save it and it is bold. What we also need to do is we need to create it at, needs to be a little bit lighter color. So we'll be passing color as gray maybe. Yes, I think gray is good. And lastly, we'll be adding one more button on the side, which is gonna be here, which is gonna be called join. But I think I want to, first of all, real quick, format the date. So in order to format the date here, what we'll be doing is we will need to install one more library. So now we can open the terminal once again. You can go here, terminal and new terminal, or click. Actually, I'm not sure how that little squiggly thing is called, but control and that squiggly thing under escape. Now let's stop the server, Metro Bundler real quick, and install a library called datefns. Let's do npx expo install and the library name. So if you go here, I think I added this, not sure if you need to install. Nope, did not added it. So we'll try. But let's install this, click enter. It will take a second to install. Now that it is installed, we can go and import it. And how do you import it? Called here import. We'll say what we want to import, and it's gonna be a long name. It's gonna be format distance to now and strict. Let's yeah, like this. It's a long name, so make sure to import it correctly. So what we'll do now in here, we'll call this format, we'll call this function, and inside here we will pass a new date, and we'll simply pass our date, which is post.created at. Let's save it. Oh, of course, I forgot to run npm start the server again. So let's run it. Open here. Let's reload. In order to reload, simply select your simulator and click R. And as we can see, it shows the time, the days, how long ago it was posted. Perfect, very good. So now what we will need to do next is add this, where is it? Let me show you. Okay, now I don't have the keynote even here. Oh, I do have it here. So we'll need to add this little join button here. Let's go back to our code and let's maybe restructure here. Yeah. And in here, we still need to be inside here, but we will need to, let's close for now these. We will not need them for quite a while. In here, we will add a little bit like a small button. So for now, let's start by creating a view. And in here, we will simply create one more text, and this text will say join. Perfect. So of course we need to style a little bit more this text, and the first things first, what we need to do is it has a background color of, here I prepared it for you. So here, let's paste it, let's save it. Now it does not look very good, but we need to change the color of the text itself, and it's gonna be white. Now we need to also give some padding around the button in order to like have more space here, right? So we will give different padding on the bottom and top and on the sides. So let's, on the bottom and on the top, we don't need to add a lot. We call it padding vertical, and we'll give only 2 points. And then for the horizontal, we will add, which means on the sides, we will add a little bit more padding of, let's say 7. Now it starts to look somewhere there. Another thing that we see is that it should have rounded corners. So let's add a border radius and let's make it 10. And lastly, the font needs to be bold. So let's do font weight and make it bold. Perfect. So now we have the join button as well. But as you can see, everything here should stay on the left until the date, but the button should be on the right. So how do we achieve that? It's actually pretty easy. You simply give a little bit, pass one styling property to the view that this text is in, and it's called margin left, and we will say auto. What auto means is take all the remaining space here and move it to the end. So if we save it here, we can see that it's pushed to the side, taking up all of the remaining space. And yeah, so for now, we'll leave it like that. We know that as we can see, we know that we need some of the padding here, but we will add that a little bit later. Well, or actually, let's add it right now. So let's pass some styles to the whole container, basically to everything inside the screen. And these styles, as we talked already, we need some padding. So first of all, let's add some padding horizontal on the sides, and let's say it will be 15. And we will also add some vertical padding, which will be, let's see, 10. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. Another thing that we see in the Reddit clone, which, why am I like this and this? Yeah, in the Reddit, that the whole background is white. So let's do just that. So let's pass background color and let's make it white. Oh, actually, we're styling only this for now. So yeah, maybe I'll show you how to do it a little bit later correctly. So yes, we have the top part. Now we can start moving down. So what else do we need to display? Okay, we need to display the title. So, and maybe I'll show you one more thing, how to, because as you can see, these styles here are very long. It actually even goes out of the screen, our join main part. In order to clean it up a little bit and restructure, what we need to do is we need to actually we already have, we need to import the style sheet from React Native. Then we can go down here and call, create a style object. We will call it styles, and we'll say style sheet dot create, and we will pass here the styles that we want to create. So for example, this will be a very good case when to use it. We'll call it join button text, right? Then we can open the object and we can say that we want all of these styles, we can cut them out, Command X, and we can paste them here on the bottom under the join button text. We can maybe fix a little bit the spacing here, like that. And how now, if I simply save it like this and remove these styles, it will no longer have the styles. So how do I assign those styles to this text? Well, to do that, we simply say style, and we call this object styles, and then click dot, and then we define, tell which style from this style sheet it needs to use. In our case, it's join button text. So we will simply write here join button text, and I made it here capital. If I save it, we can see that the styles were applied perfectly. So you can use either these kind of styles or you can keep them inline. For very long styles like here, we have a lot of different styles. I usually like to extract it and move it here. But for smaller styles, for example, where here we only define margin left auto, I leave it in inline. It's a personal preference. I'm not sure there is a better or worse way to do it. So these styles, I would already start thinking, okay, maybe for the image, we can move it out as well. So let's say styles, image, we go here, we say image here, and we paste all of these styles here. Let's save it, and it's remained the same. So now our main part of the code looks a little bit cleaner, and it's easier to read for us and for our friends that will be looking at it later on. Okay, I think we have header fully done. So what we need to do now is we need to, out of this, even for yourself, you can leave comments like this, and then let's close it. And let's say we will call it here header, or maybe even better, post header. Let's continue, and now we'll be creating another part, which is the title and the image. So basically, you could call it content maybe, or something like that. And I will add some space here, like this, copy it, paste it, and let's say content, right? Let's go under, and now let's continue working. So first of all, we again add another. Actually, let's see what we need to create. The title and the image. So for now, let's not add this. We simply say we want text, and this text should display the title of the post. So again, post.title. Let's save it. Okay, it's displayed. And now we also want to display not only the title, but the image. So let's do text. Not text, but my bad. It's actually image. So we say image, and we give it a source. The source will be post.image. So now we're displaying the post of the image. It is complaining now a little bit. I'll show you how to fix later on. Let's skip it real quick. And the last thing, that sometimes we want to display, as we see here, only text, because not all of the posts have the image. So let's for now display it, and let's say post.description, and let's save it. Oh yes, as you can see, what I told before, the image must have a few styles. So for the styles, we will pass the width, and the width is, I have it somewhere written down for myself. Yeah, so we'll do it a little bit different this time. We'll say the width should be 100% because you can define this that way. And we will not pass the height, but instead we will pass the aspect ratio, which is going to be 3:4. And if we save it, for now it looks a little bit bad, but we'll fix it later. And actually it's not 3:4, it's the other way around, 4:3, because we want to make it like a square, I think it's called, basically like that, instead of being long, being shorter. But yeah, I think it's called that way. And we also need to add, as we can see from our example, a little bit of border radius, like rounded corners, and we'll add 15. Now it's starting to look a lot better. Yes, so that's that. We can see real quick here that the text shouldn't be always displayed fully. It should only display 4 lines and then cut it off. We can actually achieve it very easily, so I'll quickly show it. The text has a number of lines property, and we simply, for now, say 4, and now it will cut. Okay, perfect. Now we can style a little bit our title, and for that, let's pass some styles. And let's say it will be, yeah, of course, I see the font weight. The first thing that we need to change, and it should be bold. Then the next thing that we should do is a little bit increase the font size. So let's do something like 17. Okay, already a lot better. And I really like a thing called letter spacing. So we'll pass a little bit of space between every letter, and it's going to be 0.5. So as you can see, it made it a little bit longer. I like how it looks. And we can also extract maybe title styles as well here, as it's already pushing. And I see Vadim really wants to say something.
If my pet peeve is puff Alice's, yours is making text look really beautiful.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Let's add it this way, save it, perfect. The title is displayed, and description is also displayed. Now the last thing that we need to build is, of course, we'll add some spacing, don't worry about it, we'll do it very quickly, but we also need to add the bottom part, which I will also separate into a separate comment. I like to do it this way because it's a lot easier to read later on for you or for anybody else. And this part is going to have a lot of let's say intricacies, a lot of styles, so it might get a little bit confusing, but don't worry, I'll try to explain it as best as I can. First of all, let's create a general global view, because we can see that all of these things should be displayed in a row. So that's the first thing we will do. We will pass these styles, flex direction, row. And by the way, don't worry if you don't remember the styles that well right away. You might feel lost if you're new, like how do I remember all of these styles? You just do it with time. I never sat down and learned them. You just do repeat. That's why I really suggest highly going to older tutorials, follow what Vadim did, and you will definitely, it will get into your head just like that. There's no better way to learn.
And the best way to do that is to actually subscribe to the channel, guys. Now I think is the best time to do that if you haven't already, because we have a lot of good tutorials on the channel. And Lucas coming back, we're going to have even more. So
we'll try to have, a very good quality, a lot of them, and we'll repeat these a lot. So you'll learn if you follow all of it, everything. Yes, so we have it, everything like that. So now before starting to work, we can see that there will be a lot of different icons used. So let's start by displaying everything side by side, and then later we'll extract them and make it easier to understand. So first of all, we'll be importing a lot of icons. First of all, we will show, I have it here written down. So let me first of all show from where. Even though there's a lot of icons, I made sure they're all important from one icon library, and it will be material community icons. So let's scroll, we imported it at the top of our file. Let's scroll back down, and let's first start by displaying all of them. So let's say material community icons, and maybe how are we doing with time? I think not very well.
Yeah, we are 1.5 hours in.
Oh, not very bad actually. So I will try to make this a little bit faster, but you will have all of those icons. So just you can copy them one by one. So
Yeah,
first of all,
feel free to go a little bit faster because you prepare the guide that is so easy. So guys, if you struggle somewhere, there is the guide that you can download in the description below that is going to help you. Like, it has everything here. It has in the guide in written form. Lucas spent so much time on that. So just go ahead and follow that. And yeah, Lucas, feel free to
yes.
speed up a bit. Like,
Okay, so not lying, I spent on that guide I was working from 10 in the morning until 11, half past 11 at night with no breaks. My girlfriend brought me food, everything, and I was working, writing, and eating. So
that's incredible.
well, it was a lot. So yes, these will be the icons that we will use. And we can see all of them here. Now, some of them has, as you can see, some text. So for example, comments and upvote, downvotes. So under this one, we can add text. And in here, we can say that text should be post dot upvotes. And then under comments, we need something very similar. So in here, we will show post dot number of comments. Let's save it. Okay, perfect. They are displayed. Now we need to, some of them, as you can see here, has like a little bit of rounded lines around them. Actually, all of them have it. So what we'll do is we'll split them into their own views. Almost all of them. So for example, let's start with these two. We can wrap them in one view inside here, and then we will now if we save them, you can see that they're displayed one under each other, again in a column. So because it takes it displays only in a row these things, and it treats this like one piece of like component. So that's why this, what's inside here, is messed up. So we need to pass it here again, flex direction row. And yeah, we have it we have them back once more as they should be. One more thing that we need to add here is, because these are on the different side, we will add margin left auto. So now they are completely on the other side, which is again good. So for now, maybe let's leave icons like this, because there is still some more styles to add, and I don't want to bother you only with styling. I will go over, and maybe we have some time to fix it later on. But even if we don't fix it together, you can get like the full component. If you go to TypeSafe, you can find this whole component here in the final post list item code. So everything that you will need will be here. I'll rather go back to what's a little bit more important. And what's more important here is, as you can see in the list, it's not always, we don't need to display only the image. So even if the post has some text, we display, if it has an image, we display only the image. And if the post doesn't have an image, we simply display the text, nothing else. So in order to achieve that, we will use a thing called rendering. What's the first word? Vadim, you remember?
Conditional?
Yes, exactly. This is the word I was looking for. Conditional rendering. So what we'll do here, the title will...
I feel good. I'm useful in this tutorial. Let's go.
The title will be always displayed no matter what, and it's required. But in order to display the image, what we need to do is, again, open these brackets and say, we need to display the image only if post has the image. Then we can display it. So if we copy this, and we can also see that we managed to get rid of the error here, because what we were seeing was a type error, which we'll talk about more a bit later. But this type error was saying to us that post image can be null, and then I don't know what to render. So now we solved this. So if we have the image, we will display it. We have it here. Another thing is that the description is not always gonna be displayed. And as I talked, it should only be displayed when there is no image. So what we will do is we will say in here, if there is no post.image, and just for the sake of safety, there is a post.description, then we will display the description. So in order for the description to be displayed, we need to have the image, we need to have the description and not have the image. So if we save now, we see that the description disappeared, which is exactly what we needed. So now, because these tiles on the bottom look horrible and I can't look at them, let's go to type-safe component. And let's copy this last part, footer, basically, from these components. Yeah, like this. Let's copy it. Let's go back and paste this. So icon box as well. We need this small style. Let's copy it and paste it. And now if we save it, it looks a lot better. And thank God, I was not able to look at them anymore. Sorry for needing to paste, but this is YouTube. I cannot fit everything in such a small video. That's why Vadim is taking so long. He wants to for React Native Module 7 mastery.
Crazy.
He's really putting in a lot of time and preparing and explaining everything in so much depth. You see, I only did so little and it's already 2 hours.
And in the course, I'm trying to do it in a short amount of time. So it's not going to be like 50 hours and that's even harder.
Exactly.
But I'm pretty sure you prepare like more important stuff to teach us. And
yes, we'll see. So yeah, now let's continue with a lesson, because now we kind of created displayed the first component. The problem with that is if we want to display multiple posts, we would need to copy everything in here, basically, and paste it again. So you can imagine how bad it will look, how fast. So this is us displaying 2 posts and it's already like 118 lines of code. That would not be manageable at all. So what we can do is simply creating a new file in the components, and the components that we will reuse. And I am talking about it here in the guide as well. So inside the source app components folder that we created, so let's open back. Let's navigate to components. Let's create a new file and let's call it post list item.tsx. So now that we created this new file, we can go back to this component of ours. And I know this is not very good, but let's select everything that we see here and everything that's in return. Let's cut it, Command X. Let's go back to our post list item And here we need to write some boilerplate and then paste it in return statement, the view that we just copied. So let's quickly write export default function, let's call it post list item. Let's also have it return, yes, return. And in the return, paste everything that I just cut out from here. Then as you can see, it's still complaining about a lot of things. And we can see why it's complaining by just hovering on it. Cannot find name view. That means we need to import view, and we import it from React Native. We also need to import image. We also need to import the text. So let's say image, and also lastly, let's say text. Perfect. That's already a lot better. Now we are still seeing that it's complaining about material community icons. So let's do import material. I'm not going to be able to write that with such a long name. So let's go here and let's paste it, material community icons. And lastly, we need to take out this date and also paste it here. So now, one more thing, the styles. The styles are also no longer gonna be needed in this home screen. So we go here to index, to our home screen under tabs, go back to post list items. And in here, we scroll under the function and import the styles. Of course, as you can see, it's complaining about create. So we will go here and import the style sheet as well. So now, it is good. The only problem is the post. So in order to get the post, we no longer need posts here, so we can cut it out from here as well. Go here, paste it, and lastly, we also of course need to import the dummy data posts. So let's do posts, and let's from, of course, and let's find where are they. In assets /data /posts. We can save it, and we can also save this one, but it will say that we are not returning anything inside. Basically, there's an unexpected token. So how can we now use this new component inside our home screen? Well, actually, it's very easy. What we need to do at the top, just like we're importing all of the other components, we will import this Lego piece inside our home. So we do import. We say that the name is post list item. And now we need to explain where is it. So we say, let's go out. Let's go into components folder, and we select post list item. So now instead of rendering that whole piece of code, we can simply render post list item, close it, just like we were rendering image, text, or view, save it, and voila, we have one full post in here. Of course, that's still not very efficient, because if we would like to display multiple posts, we need to copy everything, and we also, the thing I talked about, the problem, we need to wrap, it can return only one element, so we need to wrap them inside the view. And we can display like that multiple posts, but you can imagine how difficult it would be if later on, first of all, it's not automatic. So if someone in your application adds new posts, you need to go to your app, paste all of these, release a new version, and only then you can display them, which is crazy if you would think about it. So now the next thing to do would be to fix this problem. And how do we fix it? Well, first of all, one very important part that I commented here in the Notion guide is passing the props. So here you can really read a lot about why are we extracting it this way. I just told like a basic, most important part, but it's, as you can see here, with some tips. So now we'll be learning how to pass the data to props. So for example, if we need to pass some sort of data to this component, which would be, let's say, post. In this case, I would say that, yeah, I will call it a post, and then I would give it a, let's say, title of the post, and let's say, hello world. Let's save it, and maybe I will call it not the post, but the title. So now if I go into post list item, I can take this title, which, yeah, in here, I can take this title as a property from to the function that I just passed. And I can do props. And in here, I could say, yes, const, and I would take in, or maybe even easier like that. In here, for the title, where we're displaying, where is it here? Instead of displaying the post.title, I would say display props dot, and then we take the name that we gave, which is gonna be the title. So if we pass it this way, if we save it, we can see that we changed the title. As you can see, it did not change for the second one, and it is because I did not pass any prop. So if I would pass here, let's say, different, I need to pass a string, different name, and if I save it, we can see that here we're displaying a different title. So this is a very important topic, and we will be using this basically every time. So now, if we go back to our guide, we just covered passing the data. Here I show an example, even better example, with the posts that we reused. So you can pass different parts, but we will cover it right now. Now I showed how to receive the post as well. So I showed you by doing props.post, but you can very easily go to your components, postlet item, and in here you can destructure it. So add the curly braces, and here say that I want right away to get the title. Basically right away give me this one. So if I take this, I can simply remove the props, and it's still the same. Perfect. Now the next thing to go over is going to be the type safety. And not sure how much time we have, but let's quickly go over it. First of all, why TypeScript is necessary for us? Well, first things first, TypeScript helps us to catch the errors very fast. So before, as you can see even here, before you do anything, it already tells you that property title is missing in type. Or for example, here if you go, you will say that binding element title like has any type, and it will always complain about that. So in order to fix this, first of all, let's go into our source, close everything in source folder, create a file called types.ts. And in here, if you go to our guide, you can copy all of these types and paste them in here. So let's paste them. And in here, we pasted a few types. I already gave you, for example, for the future comments, but we will not use them now. And we are currently only needing the post type, which basically what we're doing is we're seeing here the data that we expect to receive and what it should be. So for example, here we say that ID should be a string. We can see that here it is exactly like that. Title should also be a string, the same as created at, but upvotes we're giving a number. For the image, we're saying that it can be either a string, or as you can see, in some cases, it is null. So we need to say that, okay, do not complain if it is null. Same for the description. For these two types, it's a bit different because we are defining them separately. So the group object will take, basically we're saying, take a look at this type. And in here we're seeing, okay, it has an ID, as a string, name as a string, and image as a string. Same for the user, and ID, name, and image as a string or null. So that's how we can reference other types, defining them, and yeah, basically that's how that's very basic definition, very basic level of type knowledge. Here I do have a little bit more comparisons and explanations, but let's continue. You can download this and read it through. I think it's very valuable. So now, how can we update the post list item to use those types? Well, first things first, we can close our types that we just created. Also, we can close posts. And to update it, we need to pass some sort of actual like data, not just a simple string of title string. So what we will do is, for this example, I will import back the posts from the from our dummy data. Let's go here and assets, data, and posts. So now what we will do is we will pass a post, and now, of course, if we're passing a post, we need to pass from posts, and let's say a post at position 0. Again, we will pass to another one, a post at position 1, and for now we can only fit 2, so let's leave it like that. Let's save it. Now let's go back to our post list item, which is our component, and let's receive this post. So let's receive it like this, and now we no longer need to import this for now, so let's close it. We can see that this title is complaining. It's because we changed it back then, so let's make it post that title. And if we save it, we can see, oh, perfect, the data is working, but now it's still complaining about binding element being implicitly any type. So how do we resolve this? Well, very easily. At the top here, we are saying that we are creating a type for, I like to do it basically called post list item, the name of the component, and I say props. Then we open an object, and inside here we define the types. So one is, we are saying we will receive the post. This is what the type name. So basically, if it would be post 1, this should also be post 1. But it is post because we called it here post, right? So let's make it post. Here it should be also post. But now we need to tell what type it should be. Well, if you remember, we created this types file. So let's import it here. Let's right away say what do we need to take from it. So if we open it like this, we are basically can right away like take this name or this doesn't matter, and pass it inside here, inside these curly brackets, to know, okay, we only need this. We don't need to import everything from there. And then we say from, and of course we go types. Perfect. So the only thing left to do here is say that the post that we receive here should be of type post here, which is defined in the types. Let's save it, but that's not it, because as you can see, this is grayed out, so that means we're not using it. So in order to say like what type this should be, this object, that properties that we receive, we simply add double dots and we pass this name inside here. So we say post list item props. We save it and we see that we no longer have any issues. Everything is working perfectly. So if we would, let's say, rename here something like upvote, let's save it, we can right away see that this is complaining. It's saying that upvote is declared here, but there is basically, we're not passing upvote, we're passing upvotes. So this is this is why TypeScript is good. It lets you catch these small errors very fast. So if we add here S, we can see that everything is perfectly working because that's what we are passing. So yeah, that's very roughly what I wanted to talk about types. You can read, as I said, more here. But let's continue to the next lesson, which is going to be showing you how to display a list of items efficiently. Because as you can see right now, we are displaying those lists, those components manually. We're adding more of them. But what if we need hundreds of posts? Well, that's again a problem. Even though it's easier to copy like this, it's still a huge problem if we want to add them automatically. Well, there is one very nice component called flat list that solves this whole issue. The only thing we need to do here now is let's remove these posts and let's render flat list. Flat list expects two properties that are required. One of them is the data. So basically we need to pass the array of what to render. And the array in this case will be our posts from dummy data, like the whole list of posts. So let's copy this, or maybe just write it down, posts. And another thing is flat list needs to know how to render it, because right now, even though we say, okay, render this type of data, but it doesn't know how to do it. So we will call render item. And what we need to do here is go here and do an arrow function and say, I want to render this post list item. So let's do post list item and close it. For now, we can still see problems because, well, first of all, it's expecting to get a post, but it's missing because we're not passing anything here. And another thing is, how do we pass it there? Well, render item provides us with every item that it's going through the list and rendering. So basically, if we go back to our posts, it takes this object, it tries to render it, and this is gonna be the item that we define here. It's gonna take first one, say, okay, I'm rendering this one, go to the next one, do that. So exactly what we will do is pass a post as we defined as our property name, and we will say, for this item is a post that I want to render right now. And just as easy as that, if we save, we can right away, it's scrollable, we see all of the posts, everything looks amazing, just with 3 lines of code. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's already taking shape. Like we already have the home screen ready.
Yes, we have almost everything. There's still a little bit of like spacing that I would like to fix, but if we have time. For now, let's focus on what's next. But yeah, as I said, you have the full code of the post item in this lesson. So just copy it, paste it in here, and you'll have all of the nice spacings between everything, like here. And yeah, for now.
Well, there is one thing I forgot to ask you. Can you commit things like after lessons?
Oh, you were right. Well, that's
Well, it's good.
Actually, I had this in
screen.
What?
The first commit is gonna be the home screen.
Yeah, actually, so maybe I should copy the correct one already, because with all the nice styles. Let's go to type save components.
It's just about the styling, right?
Yes, it's only about the styling, nothing else. Yep. So let's copy everything with Command A. Let's do Command V, save it, and you can see it looks a little bit better. We added some styles. So yeah, let's open the terminal, and we can open another terminal and commit everything, because I actually had this in my notes, but I forgot to do that.
No worries, no worries.
So let's do git add, git commit, and let's give it a nice commit name. We will call home screen finished, commit everything, and we can continue working. Perfect, we have a home screen. So what's next? We have our first component. We know how to render it in a list efficiently. So what's next? Well, it's authentication by our friends with you.
People were asking in the chat if we're going to implement authentication. And I'm very happy to say that yes, we're going to do that.
Yes, with our sponsors of today.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually tried Clerk for the
Authentication
first.
is that thing that if you try to build it yourself, like you spend so much time. We were together with Lucas. We built the startup Fitinium, and I remember at one point we had to add sign in with Apple
Oh,
or the social sign-ins, and I literally spent like more than 1 week just to add sign in with Apple, even though we had like everything else. And with a solution like Clerk, adding like these new features is just a matter of configuring something, for example, on Apple, getting a key, setting it up there, and you already have it in your application.
yeah.
So this boilerplate code that you need in any kind of application is doing it yourself like is so pointless because you can spend your time focusing on building the features for your application rather than authentication, storage, logging, and so on.
Exactly, exactly. Even a simple authentication with email and password is so difficult to do if you, especially if you're a beginner.
The thing is that it might be easy to implement, but it's so hard to master it and to
Yeah.
build it correctly, like with the
Secure.
security in mind.
Yeah.
Because another funny story, like I don't know, 10 years ago when I built my first startup, I didn't know like about password hashing, and I just storing passwords as plain text in the database. And very soon I realized that's not how you do it. So
Yeah.
in order not to do the same mistakes as I did, just go ahead and use Clerk for your authentication, and you're gonna thank us later.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it was my first time using Clerk, but you'll see how fast and easy it is to set it up. So
I
let's
used it
not.
before in a lot of projects, so yeah, like it's
Oh,
impressive.
amazing. So I really enjoyed using it. So let's go back to coding. Well, so let's quickly.
I don't see the live chat, like the live screen, but make sure you share the coding screen.
It is coding
Okay,
screen. I'm
perfect.
showing the Notion now.
Yeah, 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 perfect.
So yeah, what we will do now, before starting, we quickly need to create an account on clerk.com. It's actually very easy to create. It's very fast. So you can, if you're following the guide, just click on this link. You will be navigated here. You will need to create a fastly. Oh wow, that's not good. Quickly.
Sorry, just wanted to say that there is also a link in description if you need
Yes,
it.
there is the link in description. You'll open this. You'll create a new account, and you'll see right away. You'll not see this yet. You'll see this screen. In here, what you'll need to do is give your application a name. So let's call it Reddit clone. And here you select the options you want to sign in with. Look how many options there are, even MetaMask. And some of them I don't even know, with Notion and much more. So very nice. For now, we'll use only email, but I know Vadim is working on a very nice tutorial where he'll showcase a little bit more of these. So it's gonna be worth waiting for it. And you can right away see on the right side how it's gonna look like if we add, let's say, Facebook, Apple, and yeah, very, very good stuff. So after we provide the name and the sign-in options that we want to use, we click Create Application. It creates the application. Here we will select Expo, and we just follow it here. It's that easy. And it's actually only, let's say, 9 or 8, I think, steps to do everything. So first of all, we can go back to our guide, and what we need to install is, before doing anything, React DOM. If you selected to create an application on web as well, you already have it installed. To check if you already have this installed, you can close out like the source, assets, maybe even close all of these out, and go to package.json and see here if you have router DOM. You can even command F and see. For me, I do not have it because I did not choose to work on web either, but I will install it. So copy this command, open your terminal. We can stop the server because we will need some to restart it. Let's install npx expo install react DOM. Let's quickly install it. And now we can follow up their guide. First things first, what we need to do is install